Imagine standing on a dimly lit street corner, clutching a second-hand guitar, your fingers numb from the cold, your stomach aching from hunger, and your heart weighed down by dreams everyone else calls impossible. That was Alex Rivera's reality. For years, he played music not on grand stages, but in subway stations, cafes that didn't pay him, and sidewalks where people walked by without even glancing his way. Yet deep inside, he believed no. He knew that music wasn't just something. He did. It was who he was. And one day, the world would hear him. Alex grew up in a small, forgotten town, where opportunities for musicians were as rare as silence in his mind, filled with melodies. His father left when he was 7, and his mother worked 2 jobs, just 2. Keep the lights on. The only thing that kept him going was the old guitar his uncle gave him, a guitar missing a string. With wood so scratched and scarred, it looked as though it had fought its own battles. But when Alex strummed it for the first time, the sound wasn't perfect. It was raw, broken, and beautiful. That guitar became his escape from a life that felt too heavy to carry. He spent every night locked in his tiny bedroom, practicing until his fingers bled. While his friends dreamed of steady jobs or college degrees, Alex dreamed of standing beneath the blinding lights of a stage, holding a microphone, hearing a crowd chant his name. But dreams don't pay bills. By the time he was 18, his mother begged him to take a real job, warning him that music was a dead end. He promised her he'd try, but secretly he refused to give up. At 19, Alex left his hometown with just $200, his battered guitar, and an unwavering hope. He moved to the city, where skyscrapers touched the clouds and dreams either soared or crashed. He worked odd jobs washing dishes, carrying bricks at construction sites, just enough to afford a shared apartment with peeling walls and a mattress on the floor. At night, he performed in grimy bars for crowds too drunk to listen. Each rejection felt like a dagger, yet he held on to the belief that every no was bringing him closer to the one yes he needed. He recorded his first demo, using borrowed studio time, and posted it online. For months, nothing happened. No likes, no shares, just silence. But Alex didn't stop. He posted cover songs, original tracks, anything that kept his name floating in the digital void. Slowly, painfully, he built a small fan base of people who saw the fire in his music. His voice was raw, his lyrics unpolished, but they told the truth of his life, the pain, hunger, the desperation, and the hope that refused to die. Then came the night everything changed. He was playing in a run-down bar, his voice straining, over the chatter of disinterested patrons, when a woman approached him afterward. She introduced herself as Mariah Lena Jr., music producer at a small but rising label. She told Alex his music wasn't just heard, it was felt, her words, lit a fire in him brighter than anything before. Within a month, he signed his first small contract. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. The next 2 years were brutal. Recording sessions stretched until dawn. His songs were rejected, rewritten, and reshaped. He slept on studio couches, ate instant noodles, and lived in near poverty. Friends doubted him. His mother cried over the phone, begging him to come home, but he wouldn't quit. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw himself on that stage. Finally, one song changed everything. Paper Wings, a track about chasing dreams, even when you feel like you're falling apart, went viral unexpectedly. A famous influencer shared it in a video, and suddenly, Alex's name exploded across social media. His following jumped from a few hundred to hundreds of thousands. The song climbed charts, got radio play, and labels that once ignored him now begged to sign him. Yet success didn't come without scars. Critics dismissed him as a one-hit wonder. He battled anxiety before every performance, terrified of letting down the people who finally believed in him. But he pushed through, driven by the memory of every night he spent alone, playing. 2 empty rooms. 2 years later, Alex stood under the blinding lights of the Grammy stage, holding that golden trophy in his trembling hands. His acceptance speech wasn't polished or rehearsed, it was raw. He thanked his mother for her sacrifices, his uncle for the broken guitar, Mariah for believing in him, and every single person who ever told him no, because, without them, he wouldn't have fought this hard. What no one saw, though, was what it cost him to get there, the sleepless nights, the heartbreaks, the crippling self-doubt. This wasn't just a story of winning a Grammy. It was the story of surviving every reason to quit. Alex's victory wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a new fight. Fame brought pressures he never imagined. Every move he made was scrutinized, every lyric analyzed. He struggled to balance the man he used to be, the one who played in subways with the celebrity the world now expected. His old friends accused him of changing, and maybe he had. But how could anyone walk through fire and not come out different? Behind the scenes, Alex battled burnout. The label wanted more hits. Fans demanded tours. Nights blurred into days as he poured himself into his music, terrified of losing everything he'd built. His hands shook from exhaustion. His voice cracked during rehearsals. Rumors spread that he was spiraling, that he couldn't handle the pressure. But Alex remembered those cold nights when no one listened. Those days he went hungry but still played his guitar. He wasn't about to lose it all now. He started writing not for the label, not for the charts, but for himself again. Songs about his struggle, his fear, his refusal to be defined by fame. Those tracks became his second album, Blood and Strings, which critics hailed as raw genius. Then came the night of his second Grammy nomination. He sat in the audience, heart pounding as his name was called again. Not just as a nominee this time, but as a symbol. A symbol that you don't need to be born rich, connected, or lucky to rise. You need fire. You need pain. You need the kind of stubbornness that won't let you stop. Even when stopping seems easier, as he stepped onto the stage, he thought of every subway platform he once played on, every rejection email. Every night he whispered to himself, "One day, they'll hear me." Now. Alex Rivera's story wasn't just about music. It was proof that the world will doubt you, beat you down, and test you to your limits. But if you keep standing, keep fighting, keep playing that broken guitar, even when no one's listening, one day the silence will break, because in the end, dreams don't die, people do. But if you live long enough to chase them, if you refuse to let go, they can take you places that once felt impossible. And that is how a boy with nothing but a second hand guitar and an unshakable dream won a Grammy.